Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Gold with your daily gold analysis done after the New York session for the 4th of September has recently closed. I'm recording this video now 7 PM in the early evening New York time on the 4th of September. I have still the same two wave counts. I'm going to put them both on the daily chart as well, so I have 4 charts to get through in this video. I'm still expecting it's most likely that we've had a big trend change down here for gold. I'm struggling to see how this upwards movement could be a correction as part of a continuing downwards movement, because if this is a correction, it would be almost twice as long now in duration to any and all of the other corrections on the way down. It would look out of proportion. So for that reason, and because we can see a nice 5-wave impulse complete down here, I expect we have the end of a big zigzag cycle degree here, and we're in a new upwards trend which may last 1 to several years. We have an impulse up here, double zigzag here. My two alternate wave counts look at this piece of movement differently. They are both identical to this low here, labelled minute wave 2 within minor wave 3. At 1545, minor 3 would reach 1.618, the length of minor 1. That target's still a few weeks away. This first our daily and hourly wave count sees 1, 2 and minute wave 3 over here, and minute wave 4 extremely likely to be over here. If it were to continue further, and that is possible, if it did continue further sideways and a bit lower, maybe as a flat or a double combination, it can't move into minute wave 1 price territory. Movement below 1344.26 would invalidate this wave count at the daily chart level at this stage. Let's have a look at what's happened in the last session. I was expecting upwards movement for gold. That's not what happened. Price moved strongly lower, but it's remained above the invalidation points on my hourly chart, so it's within allowable limits. So let's have a look at what happened on the hourly chart for the main wave count, where minute 4 down here is this point down here. Yesterday I had this labelled for this main wave count 1212. That certainly is possible because 2 has failed slightly to move beyond the start of 1, so it does fit, it doesn't break any rules. But for this main wave count, it's starting to look a little bit odd. I'm going to label this as a possible ending diagonal beginning for minute wave 5. There are only 2 structural possibilities for a fifth wave, either an impulse or an ending diagonal. An ending diagonal requires all of the subwaves, including the third wave, to subdivide as zigzags, so that's the only time you're ever going to see a third wave labelled as anything other than an impulse. So within this possible ending diagonal, we have A, B, C zigzag for minuet wave 1. There's no Fibonacci ratio here between A and C. We may have an ABC zigzag down now complete for minuet wave 2, and the C wave is close to 1.618, the length of the A wave. Minuet wave 2 is within that common depth for second and fourth waves within diagonals of between 0.66 and 0.81, the first and third wave. This one's 75% the length of the first wave, so it all looks quite typical for a diagonal. And we may have found support at the lower edge of this parallel channel I'm drawing on the daily chart and copying over to the hourly. Draw it from the low of minute wave 2, which you see on the daily chart, to this low here of minute 4, then place a parallel copy on the high of minute 3. If this is the case, we should expect some increase in upwards momentum for this main hourly wave count as a zigzag unfolds upwards for a third wave. If the diagonal is expanding, it certainly could reach this target, but once we move into the final fifth wave of the diagonal, I'll be recalculating that target using ratios of A and C waves within the final fifth wave and the lengths of the diagonal waves at minuet degree. For this main hourly wave count, minuet wave 2 of the diagonal may not move beyond the start of 1. Movement below 1374.14 would invalidate this wave count at minute degree. If we do see price move below that point, I'd expect at that stage we could be seeing minute wave 4 continuing further sideways and lower, and we move the invalidation point down to where I have it on the daily chart. Alternatively, at the daily chart level, this is the other possibility. Within minor wave 3, we may have minute 1 and 2, this is the same as the main wave count, and then after that, within minute 3, we may have minuet 1 and 2. Within minuet 3, we may have sub-minuet 1 and 2 complete here. Let's have a look at this on the hourly chart, where the start of sub-minuet 3 here is this point here. So for this one now, we have another series of 1, 2, 1, 2, more overlapping first and second waves. The size and depth of this second wave correction hasn't moved beyond the start of 1, it's come extremely close to it, but it's so very deep and so big, this wave count's now starting to look rather strange. I'll only really consider it very seriously if it redeems itself with some extremely strong upwards movement. The short to mid-term target for this one is 1506, where sub-minuet wave 3 would reach 1.618, the length of sub-minuet wave 1. There's not a lot of room left for downwards movement. Both of my hourly wave counts are expecting upwards movement, both of them expecting at least some increase in upwards momentum, the alternate expecting very strong increase in upwards momentum. That's all for me today with your gold analysis, and I hope everybody had a fabulous day.